Good morning, everybody, my magical friends. Here we are again, day 2 of me being consistent. I'm so proud of myself. It is not in my nature as a Scorpio sun and a Sag rising to be consistent. um, Perhaps some of you viewers can relate to you Scorpio suns out there. We are constantly changing, and to be doing anything consistently is tricky. um, and the Sag risings or the Sag suns know that we like to be on to the next thing. But perhaps it's the Capricorn season that is upon us. The sun in Capricorn is making us think about structure and regularity, and maybe this will all change in February, but for now, I am regular here on YouTube doing the cards because I love it and I just feel it's very needed at the moment. There's a lot of people who are spinning around wondering which way's up, and hopefully something I can say here can help someone. So this morning energy feels a little funky. I wonder who's watching. Only because in liminal state, I want to say, in the morning after meditation, my mind was drifting to like these old scenarios, old situations from my past, and I was thinking, what in the world is happening? So I wonder if somebody out there maybe is like getting caught up in sort of this whirlpool of the past, and I had to consciously make an effort to bring my mind back to the present. And maybe that's part of the message today for whoever's watching, is that sometimes it can be so easy to get pulled back into past situations, and it's very important, and it's actually quite well documented in literature and studies about depression and anxiety. It's important to be able to recognize what is past and bring your energy back to the present. And in energy circles, it's clear that whatever you focus on grows and amplifies. So it's kind of like the more you focus on past mistakes, past shames, past traumas or projections from other people, the bigger that will become in your mind and in your life. So it's important to consciously bring yourself back to the present, because the present is really the only thing that's real at the moment, is the now. Even the future isn't real yet. The future hasn't even happened yet and isn't guaranteed. Anything could happen in the next 5 seconds. So really, the present is all we have. So that's a big part of the message today. Also, when I was setting up and I was clearing my space to do this reading, well, as usual, we're joined by our beautiful Reiki crystals. They are still charged with intention to send Reiki healing to whoever's watching. And I think they'll be regulars. I quite like the company. Yes, so I was setting up and I was kind of clearing the cards and shuffling. I always kind of try to make sure the energy is very pure and very clear, and I do all my praying and intentions and energy clearing of the space off camera, because it's not very dynamic to watch and it's a little bit boring to listen to. But do know that I do it. And as I was doing that, the Six of Swords came out, which actually is quite fitting, since we were just talking about becoming a little bit too obsessed with the past. And because the Six of Swords is a card about moving on. In the traditional tarot, this isn't a traditional tarot deck. This is the art of tarot, but in the traditional Rider-Waite version, this card shows two people in a boat. You probably know this card. Two people in a boat, kind of moving on from choppy waters. And it's really about, yeah, just kind of moving on from the past, healing, moving forward. So perhaps somebody watching today needs to hear that, needs to know that something is over. And it's very likely, actually, because the South Node has just moved out of Libra. And for those of you who enjoy astrology, the South Node, you may know, is about what we are leaving behind as a collective. And Libra, being the sign of relationships, signifies that perhaps we had to leave some relationships behind, not just romantic. It could be familial, could be work, could be friendships. And when I say leave behind, it could be a complete cutting off, or it could be a change in dynamic, a recognition that a certain phase of it is over, perhaps, and now it's time to start something else. View it from a different perspective, perhaps, create a bit of distance. So that's something that you're probably not the only one who's actually dealing with that. I'm sure a lot of us are, because when the nodes are in a certain sign, it's usually a collective dynamic. So just know that you're not alone in that, and that there is a plan. Okay, so that's the tarot card that wanted to come out. Shall we do a clarifier? I do want to do a clarifier. Should I do a tarot clarifier? Yeah, why not? Let me just make a little room to shuffle. I have a teeny tiny space right now, but the important thing is I have a space, which is something we talked about yesterday, was creating space and time to do things that you like, things that you love. Let's do a clarifier for this moving on card. Very interesting that it's so different from the image on the Rider-Waite. I don't think that's an accident either, that I've sort of magnetized this non-traditional deck, because I'm quite a non-traditional girl, and perhaps the collective I'm attracting, well, I know the collective I'm attracting is a creative one, and one that's destined to do things a little differently for the past, non-traditionally. The coloring is very, very Valentine's-y, actually. The red square. Red square, is that a thing? That sounds so familiar. Is that a movie? Red square. I'll have to look that up after. If anybody knows, drop me a comment. And it's got this kind of beautiful, like, watercolor. I don't know if it shows up on camera. This sort of watercolor looking wash behind the red square. Perhaps I'm talking to painters, or maybe people who do fabric work, because the red square actually looks like a piece of fabric. So you painters out there, oh, and look, there's some writing. See, now I'm noticing details. Hold on. Over here in the border where it says 6, I don't know if it'll show up, but you can see on this red part, it's got this text as if it's typed, a scrap of typing. So maybe there's some writers out there too who are listening and needing to transition on, move on from some past mistakes, literally let them go. Do what you need to do. Do what you need to do. Write a good ritual for letting go of things, which I've only actually used once or twice because I do Reiki, but for those of you who don't do Reiki, Reiki is so useful for clearing the past. But if you don't do Reiki, you can also do a fire ritual where you like write down something you want to let go of, and you on a tiny slip of paper, and you burn it in a candle or whatever outside, somewhere safe. Please don't set your house on fire. But yeah, outside with a candle or something. That works for a lot of people. I tend to just do Reiki on it, and I will be doing attunements in the spring when it's not so cold outside. So if you do want to learn Reiki, drop me an email, and we can set something up. We can reserve you a time. I'll probably be starting Reiki treatments and attunements in April when the weather warms up, because I tend to do them outside. Okay, do we have a clarifier for the Six of Swords? Anybody want to talk here? Anyone? Yes, ma'am. Yes, please. Okay. Oh, I love it. It actually is quite fitting. And quite a smooth looking transition with the pink. Slightly different shade of pink, but the Ace of Cups, which is exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about new beginnings. This is about an emotional new beginning. So maybe we are talking about a relationship, guys, or family. There are lots of different kinds of relationships in our lives. There's relationships at work, relationships with food, with, I don't think this is about that. Like habits and things, but this seems like it's with a person or a group of people. So it seems like somebody watching really does need to just move on and let go and start the new. It's time. Okay, so let's pull from the hedge witch. The hedge witch's, I think it's called the hedge witch's oracle. This is a deck that I actually was in a white elephant, and a white elephant gift exchange. I know some of you might do that or know that. It's so much fun, but I don't know if this counts as a deck that was magnetized to me. I stole it in a white elephant exchange from my brother-in-law, who's never going to appreciate it anyway. But nobody stole it back from me, so I guess it's mine. Sounds a bit like a wand, a Harry Potter wand. So how decks work, like wands. Anyway, yeah, it's got these beautiful botanical designs. For me, I think I have a bit of a past life thing. I get a little triggered when I hear the word witch, just because it's like the connotations are so odd compared to the male form of the word, which is wizard. Why is the connotation of witch feel so different from the connotation of wizard? That's the sort of thing I need to let go of. Any kind of past trauma about that. It's interesting, isn't it? The ideas of the past. I think it's time to let them go, don't you think? Yeah, that seems to be the theme of this reading. Okay, do we have any messages from the botanical deck? Aw, this is so sweet. Nurture. It's the clover, which I love. I love clover so much more that I love having clover instead of grass. It's so much nicer to walk on. It's comfortable and it's sweet looking. And that's part of your healing message today, is nurture. As you're going through this transition process, to not be so hard on yourself about it. Take some time and nurture yourself with pleasant things as you go through this restart. Remember, it's supposed to be joyful, yeah? The creative process, when we're creating something new, whether it's a piece of art or something we're writing or creating. And remember, when we talk about art and creativity, we're talking about life. Life is art, and I'm going to actually, I hope to be able to share that somehow with this video, a meme that I saw recently, and I shared it with my artist cousin, that the goal of life is to create. I'm probably butchering what it said, but it's something about how art is not necessarily about like art pieces and things we create, but life itself can be art. You're creating your life in every moment, with every decision you make, with every thought you have. So the whole process of living is art. It is a creative act, and the life you create is art. So remember that. And it is work. It is work. Every thought we have to manifest something in our life, to make it real, that's work. Okay? Work is not necessarily just about doing, those monkey button pressing things that we're supposed to do for a job every day. Yes, that is work we do for someone. But work is also creating your life. And sometimes it always starts in the mind. It always starts as a co-creative process with the Most High, the Creator. So recognize that you creating something new of your life, transitioning from something old to something new, that transformation process, that is work as well. And you do need breaks. You need breaks to sit in the clover and relax. Here in Canada, we don't have clover right now because everything's covered in snow. But you can find your little patch of metaphorical clover in your house. You can create a sanctuary for yourself. You can create 5 minutes for yourself. I'm thinking of Ferdinand, the bull. You know that storybook, that kid's storybook, where Ferdinand was supposed to be like, I don't know, doing what bulls do, like goring people or whatever. And instead he wanted to like roll around in the clover and just, I don't remember the book, but it's something along those lines. Like I kind of pictured him wanting to just roll around in the clover and appreciate life and enjoy the sights and sounds and just enjoy the act of being. That's a very Ferdinand thing. So yeah, maybe you need a moment to be Ferdinand as you go through this process. I love it. I have many Ferdinand moments in my life. Last one for y'all. Symbols. Ooh, is this gonna stay up? Maybe not. I might need some help. Maybe that's important for you as well. Having some help from the crystals. Having some help. Oh, look, what are these cubes with symbols? Having some help. It's making me think of angelic help. Because when we ask for help, and you do need to ask, I don't know, people always say, oh, you need to ask to receive help from angels. I think they help either way. Perhaps it's more powerful if you can ask nicely for things you need help with. But yeah, they do speak to you through symbols. If you're seeing recurrent symbols, like rainbows and clover again. 4-leaf clover, lucky. Yes, so clover seems to be significant today. You may be seeing stars. That's a sign for me always that Metatron's around. I'm not sure where I got that actually. You may be seeing anchors, butterflies. Again, we've been talking about transformation. And leaving things behind after difficulty, which is something that rainbows do, right? Rainbows signify the end of a difficult storm. So, yeah, I think it's pretty clear here, guys. I think it's pretty clear that this is, for whoever's watching, if you're still here, this is a time for you to accept the end of something, transform into something new. As you do this, take time for yourself. Recognize the assistance from spirit, angels, the divine. When you see recurrent things, recurrent symbols, they may not be these symbols. They may be just personal ones for you. But know that you're not alone. And when you do receive symbols as messages from angels, it is a signifier that you're on the right path. So notice when you see them, what you're doing when you see them. And that's a sign that you're going the right way and everything's going to be cool. All right, my little rainbow friends. So yeah. So that's your message this morning. Have a good day, guys.